The second analysis I did for this episode, which I was kind of excited about because I'm analyzing the Ravens, and this is a team that the Steelers have to play twice a year. They may have to play them 3 times this year. And I wanted to figure out what is going on with the Ravens offense. Not too long ago on the Rich Eisen show, I believe it was, I'm like 99% sure. Rich Eisen interviewed Lamar Jackson, and in that interview, Lamar Jackson was saying, our play calling kind of sucks. Defenses know what we're doing. They're calling out our plays while we're doing them. And, I wanted to see, is there any merit to that? And the first thing that I saw, because, I watch a lot of Ravens games. The first thing that I saw the Ravens differ at from last year is their deep passing attack. Their deep passing attack is a fraction of how good it was last year. And part of that is on Lamar Jackson. So here is one of the early plays in this Ravens-Patriots game. And you're going to see Lamar Jackson just miss Hollywood Brown deep here. It's not wide open, don't get me wrong, and he ends up checking it down to Ingram for a good play. But you can see Hollywood Brown is calling for the ball, and for good merit, like, he is the fastest guy on this football field. And he is even with these defenders. If Lamar Jackson just unloads this football as far as he can, there's a good chance this is a touchdown. If he just unloads it down the field. And it's not just this play. There's another play in this game where, it's not a deep ball for a touchdown that Lamar Jackson misses, but there's an open play. He's got this deep dig over here. He's got it open. And as an NFL quarterback, especially one that's an MVP, you're supposed to have the anticipation to hit this guy in stride. It's not supposed to be, I see him open and I throw it. It's supposed to be, okay, I see this linebacker, he's moving forward so that he has no leverage going backwards. And the dig is open. He's 7 yards away from this play. This is a big first down. It's 2nd and 10. This is a big first down for the Ravens. And the ball's batted at the line of scrimmage, mainly because Lamar Jackson just sees it late. I believe that he's trying to throw this dig, but he's just throwing it late. He's either throwing it to the dig or the check down. It's hard to tell. But, I mean, this has been a problem with the Ravens passing attack. In the past couple of weeks, they just haven't had the success on plays deep down the field. Now, the other thing I will say is that Lamar Jackson actually has a point. Greg Roman has been doing a pretty dog shit job of calling plays because they are so predictable. And one of the biggest problems I have is with a lot of these outside receivers. They're running, anytime you see an outside receiver, 65 to 70% of the time, they'll be running just a deep concept, probably even more, like 80%. And then of that 80%, half the time it's just a go route. So you see time and time again, the Patriots just have a corner in a deep third or in man coverage, just playing way off. And this player may not be terribly involved in the play, but he's not doing anything. Lamar, this is just a waste of a player in the NFL. It's just a player not doing anything. And not only that, this sets a precedent for the corners of this team. So when these corners know that these outside receivers are running deep, and you're Bill Belichick, and you have a corner, you say, J.C. Jackson, why don't you go press coverage on Hollywood Brown? What do you think he's doing? You think he's going to take the bait and fall for an underneath receiver? No, he's going to bomb the hell back because he knows that Lamar Jackson is going to throw this ball deep. I'll give credit to Bill Belichick because this is a really good job from him. This is at the end of the half in the Ravens game. Anytime that Lamar Jackson, this Raven offense, sees that they have Marquise Hollywood Brown one-on-one in pass coverage, they generally throw him the ball. And they throw the ball to him deep. And J.C. Jackson and the Patriots know this. he tries to do this little hesitation right here. It's kind of subtle, so I'll slow it down. He tries to do this little hesitation right there. JC Jackson does not bite at all, and it leads to an interception and 3 points off the board for the Ravens. That's just bad design from this offense. Whether that's Greg Roman's fault or Lamar Jackson's fault, they took the bait. This is exactly what Bill Belichick wanted them to throw the ball to. He's on the sideline probably smirking, rubbing his hands together because, this is a free play for the Patriots. They just get the ball. They took 3 points off the board. I mean, granted, he's the GOAT coach, so he's going to do stuff like this, but my God, and it's just over and over and over, this kind of stuff. And it leads into more than just that, into more than just the Ravens taking the bait. It goes into they try to run a little double move here with Hollywood Brown on the outside, and these corners aren't going to bite. These corners. Okay, yeah, McCourty bites a smidge, but he's in good enough position to where Lamar Jackson throws his ball. He's got nothing. He's got to throw the ball out of bounds to complete this pass, which. Mm-hmm. I'll have to give credit to Lamar Jackson. This is bad design from this offense. And, my whole thing is that when you're seeing these 3 deep coverages all the time, you got the safety back here and these corners consistently 10 yards off the ball, one has to ask why they are not working the sideline more often. Here's one of the few plays the Ravens work the sideline, and they get a big first down. This is 3rd down and long. The Patriots think they came up with an interception. It was ruled a completion for Mark Andrews in the game, and a big first down. This is a great matchup for the Ravens, and I'm not sure why they are not taking advantage of the sideline more often in this offense. And just to show you statistically what I'm talking about, time. Ooh. Just look at their intermediate and deep passing numbers. You can see here's 2019 for deep passing up right here where my cursor is in the middle. And then here's where their deep passing is. In 2019, their deep passes were attempted 43% of the time in the middle, with 30% on the left and 26% on the right. You can see the dramatic difference because in 2020, their deep passing, 57% of their deep passes are in the middle of the field, where 18% is on the left and 25% is on the right. And then we go to their middle of the field passing, intermediate passing. Their middle of the field from 2019, 58%. On the right, 31, left, 12, has gone up to 61%. And I truly believe that this is a big problem for the Ravens, because not only are they failing to move the ball with their deep passing because their deep passing in general, I'll bring this graphic back up. If we just look at their quarterback rating from their deep passing in general, we have quarterback rating 108 in 2020, gone down to 62, or 108 in 2019, gone down to 62 in 2020. Same thing with their intermediate, 137 in 2019, down to 100 in 2020. And not only that, teams are playing to take away the middle of this defense, and the Ravens are refusing to change. Here's the interception by Robert Spillane for a touchdown against the Ravens in Week 8 for the Steelers. So what they're going to do is they're going to rush this linebacker here and have Bud Dupree back out. And what the Ravens are going to do, they're going to have both of their slot receivers run a little mesh concept with their tight end running a dig. And then obviously both of their receivers running go routes, because that's what they do 60% of the time. And you can see here, just by the numbers game, there are 4 guys covering these 3 guys. And it leads to an interception. As a Steelers fan, I can tell you teams have torched us hitting throws outside the numbers. And on this play here, the Steelers, look it up here. There is so much space outside the numbers on the sideline that they could be throwing the ball. But they're so busy trying to work the middle of the field for Lamar Jackson. He's an NFL quarterback. I know people try to crap on Lamar Jackson's throw, but he can make, a 7-yard out on the sideline. And it's just, as a Ravens fan, this is infuriating. The fact that they are just not using their weapons on the outside. Well, look at all this space over here. Look at all this space past the sticks. This should be an easy first down. The fact that I'm a casual fan and I'm telling you, we should be hitting the outside on the Steelers. What the fuck are they doing in their meeting rooms? The Ravens are acting like they control the tempo. They control what's going on. They can just run the concepts that they think they're good at, and they don't have to game plan, it seems like. You need, against this Steelers defense, a top-tier defense in the NFL, you need to hit the sidelines. Look at all. If you're not going to, teams are just going to stay in this 3-deep coverage and live with one-on-one on the outside. That's what the Patriots did to shut him down. That's what the Steelers did to shut him down. And it just must be so infuriating as a Ravens fan. And I can completely see where Lamar Jackson is coming from, and that the play calling isn't just bad. The defenses know what's going on. The play calling is dog shit. It's honestly terrible. The fact that they have a talented offense and they score a lot of points from just dink-dunking the ball, running the ball down people's throats. The fact that you have such a good running game and such a good short passing game, but you can't make teams pay by stretching the field is honestly mind-boggling. They haven't done it really since early in the season. And the other thing with the Ravens offense that I have is that teams, I think, have figured out after this Steelers game a formula for how to not stop Lamar Jackson completely, but to mitigate Lamar Jackson's rushing impact on the game. His scrambling, the design quarterback runs, and here's how they do it. So the first thing that I've been seeing is that their interior linemen, sometimes they'll get upfield. Other times they'll just, almost attack it like they're attacking a run. Just go 2 yards up the field and then, control their line and make sure that the running back can't get in the gap. But they're almost baiting Lamar Jackson to escape the pocket vertically. Because what they're doing is when Lamar Jackson escapes this pocket vertically, these guys just instantly, once they see that, they collapse. These little A gaps. They want Lamar Jackson to go here because they'll go up the field, but then roll off and have an easy tackle on Lamar Jackson. They won't let Lamar Jackson make a difference in space. And doing this, they don't have to have a linebacker spying on him. The other thing is that teams are zoning the Ravens all the time now. You will rarely see a team play consistent man coverage against this Ravens team because of this. So they're going to have this play where Lamar Jackson rolls out to the left. They're trying to hit Willie Snead in the flat here. It's not there. And teams are just zoning the Ravens. So what this does is it's making Lamar Jackson think a little bit. He's holding on to the football. When you play man coverage, Lamar Jackson, there were times last year, okay, you're playing man coverage. He'd take one step back, see that the entire field clears up, and just say, oh, screw it, I'm running the ball. There's no one here. There's a linebacker spying me? Good luck. It's me, Lamar Jackson, MVP Heisman Trophy winner, against some random linebacker. I'm winning that 10 times out of 10, and you saw it last year. He won an MVP doing that. But now, when you have a team zoning him, you see he's thinking a lot. And then while he's thinking, you have the entire defense flow towards Lamar Jackson. So where is he going to go? He can't go this way. There's 4 Steelers over here. Oh, you want to cut it back? Well, TJ Watt, Stephon Tuitt, there's a whole lot of Steelers guarding the cutback lanes as well. So go ahead, try to run the ball. We'll eat it up all day. And then, the last thing is that when the Ravens are trying to run these zone reads where they're just reading a defender, I'm pretty sure they're reading Bud Dupree here. Then maybe TJ Watt. I can't remember. Let's see. Yeah, they're reading TJ Watt. teams are no longer letting Lamar Jackson ever have the ball in these zone reads. They're committing to him every time. They're not letting Lamar Jackson make his plays in the running game. And this is why, so you look at last season, 2019, Lamar Jackson, he averaged 6.9 yards per carry. Through the first 6 games, he also averaged 6.9 yards per carry. But including that Steelers game and beyond the Steelers game, the past 3 weeks of the season, he's averaged 4.45 yards per carry. The jig may be up a little bit, and teams are not letting Lamar Jackson make an impact running the football. So that means that this team needs to be able to attack teams deep. The Ravens right now are letting teams just go one-on-one on the outside with the Ravens. And I think a large part of that is because they're not attacking outside of the numbers effectively and just enough. They're not throwing enough outside the numbers to receivers. They're just asking Hollywood Brown to purely be a deep threat. You need to have him attack outside the numbers. Teams are just going cover 3 constantly. 3 high players with a one-on-one deep. Just attack outside the numbers. Force teams to put more resources attacking Duvernay, Boykin, and Hollywood Brown underneath, outside the numbers, 8 to 10 to 15 yards. It's just so ridiculous, the fact that the Ravens think that they can just do the same cookie cutter game plan that worked for them last year and worked for them earlier in the season this year and think that they're going to beat well-coached teams like the Steelers. It's not going to happen. And the Steelers, yeah, they didn't shut the Ravens down. The Ravens still had success. But when you have the talent the Ravens do, they were averaging 33 points a game last year. I'm not even sure they've reached 33 points at all this year. And I think that Lamar Jackson has a point. The Ravens staff, especially Greg Roman, you need to do your part for this team and start calling better games and coming up with better game plans, because right now it's not enough. And I can completely see what Lamar Jackson is saying. This offense is too predictable. It's too cookie cutter, and teams are taking advantage of them. And if they don't change this, this team is not going to be in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, completely agree. It's the adjustments. And you see the success they had last year on offense, and you read off the stats, and you've seen now this season has just not carried over. And that's because teams have made adjustments on them. They haven't made the right adjustments on that back yet. Or why it be, I don't know. Something's
They're
going
treating this
on.
like this is college, dude. It's like, okay, we're Alabama. We're more talented. We can just attack the middle of the field. We don't have to do all this stuff. Like, it's not that they don't attack the sides of the field, I'm saying. It's just, if you want to run these double moves and have Hollywood Brown on the outside be a threat deep, you need to make defenses commit to it. Defenses right now don't have to commit to it. They can always stay over top of Hollywood Brown, and they're not making teams pay for doing that. If you have a corner that is always over the top of a receiver, what are you going to do? Oh, we're going to make him pay underneath. Like, the fact that the Ravens aren't doing that is ridiculous. And they're just thinking, okay, Lamar Jackson, if our plays don't work, just save us. Like, that doesn't fly in the NFL. And if I'm Lamar Jackson, I would be fucking pissed, because this game planning is terrible. And this is a Ravens team under John Harbaugh that has been incredibly well coached usually. And this is not like them. It's not like them to just lose games schematic. This Ravens offense they ran for over 200 rushing yards against the Steelers. They should win that game 10 times out of 10. That is ridiculous that they do not win that football game. It's honestly absurd. And it is 100% on their coaching staff the reason they did not win that football game. Lamar Jackson and their running game did all they could. They did more than enough to win that football game. And I'm a Steelers fan saying this. That is absurd. They should never lose that football game, and it is 100% on their coaching staff for not putting their players in a position to win.
I completely agree with you. And until they make those right adjustments, like they could probably still make the playoffs now, like regardless if they made the adjustments or not. But you're not going to go no farther than the first or second round of the playoffs if you just don't figure out some way the offense because like last year it seemed like they got into that steamroll where it was just every drive, bang, touchdown, 8 minute drive, touchdown, control the ball, boom. Like the ball game's over in the first quarter when they're up 14-0, you've had the ball once.
Yeah.
It now that their scheme has been kind of figured out and teams are having success on it, it's up to the coaching staff to make the right adjustment and play call to get this team back to what it is. Because, like you said, this is a very talented offense. This is a very talented team. A lot of people were saying when this team came in, it was the most complete team. And
Colin Coward predicted them to go undefeated.
yeah, I mean, Calturn went undefeated. Didn't see it. It's very hard to go undefeated. Like very hard. Seen it once, and it's just it doesn't feel like that same
Oh
Ravens
no, not
team. It
at
just
all.
feels like a very choppy team, and it's like
They have
they're
had
good enough to
injuries
win
too,
some
though.
games. They're good enough to win 10 or 11 games, but they should be winning a lot more games like that because of look at the players on their depth chart.
You know, the
And
other
I
problem I
think it
have with the
comes with the
Ravens
coaching.
coaching staff is that you look at there's a stat I forget exactly the stat. It's either in their last 20 to 22 games. This is a week or two ago. I think they have won a game when they were losing at halftime since I saw this stat. But basically it went along the lines of in the past 20 to 22 games where the Ravens were losing at halftime, they have barely ever won. And that is unacceptable when you're a team trying to compete for a Super Bowl. I mean, I always point to this example, but look at the Chiefs last year. This is a team that, for as good as they were, had to make adjustments in every playoff game to end up winning. And with no matter how good you are, you look at that Titans Ravens playoff game last year. That was a Ravens team that was unable to overcome adversity and adjust to what the Titans were doing, and they got smacked. Is that just going to be the same story for the Ravens this year? Anytime that a team is able to compete with them up until halftime, the Ravens just fold over and lose? I hope not, because I like John Harbaugh. I think he's a great coach. But what
Yeah,
about the other guys on that staff? Maybe this is getting into the players. I honestly believe that the Ravens players have a point in that this coaching staff is not doing enough to set them up for success. So I think that this is something to really look out for. And if teams have figured out the Ravens, this is going to be interesting to see. I don't think they have. I think that the Ravens will be able to overcome what teams are doing to stop Lamar Jackson running the ball, um, especially by attacking outside the numbers. We should hopefully see that against the Titans this weekend because this is a Titans team that has struggled to cover players. Their cornerback play has been extremely inconsistent. They haven't had a pass rush. So the Ravens should be able to have a good offensive game this week, but we'll see. And I mean, we'll see if this trend continues. But this Ravens team and the coaching staff needs to step up and do their job.
totally agree. I think it's just it's as simple as that. You know,